Tommy Collins, who is your favorite wrestler of all time, and why is it Chris Jericho?
Ooh, that's a good question. Some might say that Shawn Michaels.
I believe Scott did, and you know, we had a very lively discussion while you egged us on the entire time.
It was a lot of fun.
It was a lot of fun, but since Scott's not here, Chris Jericho wins.
Hey,
Chris Jericho, greatest of all time.
Shown up.
You can listen to the episode and you can make the decision for yourself of why Chris Jericho is the greatest of all time and why he will dominate Kenny Omega at Wrestle Kingdom 12. Dominate. And don't forget to follow us on Twitter. You can follow me at The Blade Job Show. Follow Tommy Collins at Blade Job Collins. And follow Scott Perkins at High Voltage 1987. You can also check us out on the web. How can they do that, Tommy Collins?
Well, all you got to do is just head on over to thebladejob.com, or you can check us out on Facebook at facebook.com/thebladejob. Let's go.
We're live right now, and we're going to do this right now. This is a special edition Blade Job right now.
Angry.
Fuck yeah. Fuck who's the greatest wrestler of all time?
And why is it Shawn Michaels?
I think it's Shawn Michaels.
See, okay, cite your work. I want
Cite your sources.
Fuck yeah.
Jesus
God damn it,
Christ.
you and the fucking mic.
I'm
better.
taking the fucking pop cover off.
Do
I
better.
hate this
Fine.
thing.
No, you pop too much. No, this is great. This is special edition Blade Job. So we need to. Okay,
I'm just
Shawn
gonna
Michaels.
egg you both on.
And both of you, are you saying Shawn Michaels too?
No, I'm just gonna egg you both
Fuck you.
on. Don't worry about me.
Shawn Michaels. Okay, go.
He had the mic skills.
1.
Yep.
He had the look.
That's 2.
He showed his ass a lot.
He did. That was weird.
Yeah.
And always like his wiener
2.5.
area, not quite his wiener, but like.
He doesn't have the official V, but it's kind of there.
But you saw it.
Let's move on from his dick.
In ring work.
3.
He was fucking Shawn Michaels.
Duh.
He feuded with the best of them.
4.
You know,
You can shut the fuck up anytime now.
I will later.
Austin, Hart, Taker, fucking like everyone.
Okay.
You know,
Razor Ramon.
Razor. Yep.
That ladder match. Oh, that was amazing.
This fucking guy.
Did you not see that?
Jeez.
Are you?
Fuck off, dude.
We will get to
Well,
you
yeah,
after.
You'll have your turn.
This
Go
is
on.
this is between me and Perkins here now.
Oh, okay.
You can be a part of it, but not yet.
Sidebar. Tom Collins and I have been best friends for many years.
Yeah.
Fucking this guy. Like, I'll have an argument with my wife, and he'll do the same fucking thing. It's wonderful. Love it. But no. So he look, in-ring work, mic skills.
Okay, best Shawn Michaels match of all time. Go.
Taker at 25. Michaels Taker at 25.
Is that the one where Taker like broke himself in half doing?
Yeah, Jimmy Snuka's kid was supposed to catch him, didn't. He was a fucking fake cameraman. Yeah. In my opinion, that's the best match of all time.
In general.
In general, because that match is about a half hour long. That, where Taker lands on his neck, that happens about 10 minutes into it. And then the match goes on for like another 15, 20, 25 minutes after that. And this is bonkers. But that match was fucking phenomenal. And both of those guys at that time were old as shit. Like, they were both... Taker should have retired around that time. Michaels retired, I think it was a year later.
Against Taker.
Against Taker, yeah. That match was just fucking bonkers. Like, just... It was awesome.
So, okay. You say Shawn Michaels. I say Jericho.
Now,
Why?
I say Shawn Michaels, and you say Jericho. I don't hate your answer.
Well, here's the thing. So, first and foremost, I can hear my voice vibrating off of these cans.
Yeah, that's weird.
So, first and foremost, how old is Michaels?
Right now?
Yeah.
Yes.
How old is Shawn Michaels? You look up Shawn Michaels. I'm looking up Chris Jericho.
Jericho's 47, I think.
So you fucking Jericho's 46.
HBK is 6'1".
That's not an age.
Great.
He's 52.
Okay, so they are 6 years apart. So 6 years puts them in two, like, in the same generation, but also two separate generations of pro wrestlers at the same time, based on when they got big.
Yeah.
Because Michaels got big in the
crazy
early
different.
90s. Jericho got big in the late 90s.
Yeah, crazy different landscape.
Had Jericho been utilized in WCW properly, or
He could have been WCW's greatest wrestler.
Had Jericho been in the WWF at the same time as Shawn Michaels, Jericho, I believe, would have surpassed Shawn Michaels. Because he was not utilized in WCW properly. I mean, you look at what he did. He came to the WWF and fuck off. And I don't know what's going on. What are you doing?
Oh, I popped my finger. I don't know anymore.
So Tommy Collins has his finger stuck in one of the mic stands.
Got it. Prove it. You were saying? Jericho. Listen, the man of 1,004 holds.
1,000, yeah. So
I had the number right. Don't question me. My favorite one was 792. I think it was an armbar.
Armbar. So Jericho comes into the WWF. He debuts
Fantastic debut.
against The Rock.
Fantastic debut.
Arguably the biggest star of his particular generation when it comes to money draw and
Yes.
fan base and all that shit. He debuts against The Rock. He goes on. Shawn Michaels had many gimmicks throughout his career, but really there was 3 Shawn Michaels gimmicks. There was the Heartbreak Kid, there was DX, and there's I Love Jesus. Those are the 3 Shawn Michaels gimmicks, and they were all completely separate.
No, they weren't. It started out as a Heartbreak Kid, then it was Heartbreak Kid in DX, and then it was I Love Jesus on the Heartbreak Kid in DX. And he tried to fucking keep them all in one. But
Stack 'em.
Stack them up.
So that's
Fucking pile that
Chris
shit on.
Jericho debuted as Welcome to Raw is Jericho. That was his gimmick when he first got there. It was Y2J. He's here. It's the turn of the century. Welcome to Raw is Jericho.
Fucking countdown clock for weeks.
It was amazing.
awesome.
And they timed it perfectly to make sure The Rock is in the ring when he debuts. And that was amazing. He has had...
That would have been awesome if it was like Dwayne Gill.
He's
Before the show started and it counted down.
He's had 30 different gimmicks of types of Chris Jericho.
Yeah.
But he never gets rid of old gimmicks. He just stacks new gimmicks on top of his existing gimmicks. So he could cut a 30-minute promo that is all catchphrases. Because they never go away. You know, I mean, when Jericho came back against CM Punk X number of years ago, and he came back for 3 weeks and said nothing. His music would hit, he would get in the ring, he would pick up a mic, and he would say nothing. He got them to boo him. That is very hard to do when you're a returning name like Chris Jericho.
That's true.
Mm-hmm. Then he leaves again, and he comes back with the gift of Jericho, and it's like, okay, we don't know where it's going. He turns the gift of Jericho into the blank of Jericho, the scarf of Jericho, the friends of Jericho. He brings the list, and he just stacks on. He is the most, in my opinion, the most versatile character in WWF, WWE, ECW, WCW history, because he has reinvented himself 100 times over, and it's never bad. He's never had a bad gimmick.
No, he never has.
Jericho Protection Services in WCW, Ralphus, he was a fucking roadie for WCW. He was a fat guy with no teeth, and Jericho said, I like that guy. I want him to come out to the ring with me.
I think he's the guy who was throwing chairs at Terry Funk.
Probably.
I don't know if this is the same episode as the one we were talking about.
Chris Jericho did the whole Goldberg thing where he came from backstage and he kept going to the wrong place. He went outside.
He challenged Goldberg for weeks, and the thing I've heard about that is that was just something Jericho started doing, and WCW just ran with it because it was working. They had no intentions of ever giving us that match.
Chris Jericho and Bill Goldberg have fought in real life backstage, and Jericho won.
Because he's Chris
Which
Jericho.
is fucking insane, because you're like, all right, Goldberg is a legitimate,
go back,
monster.
Okay,
But he knows so many holds.
He does know.
Let's go back. We need to find
Over
some
1,000.
old footage
About 1,004
from
roughly.
Texas or wherever of Shawn Michaels before he was the Heartbreak Kid. I want to see that compared to Chris Jericho in New Japan. And no, it wasn't New Japan. It was
The
All Japan?
All Japan.
All Japan. The
And
Lionheart.
ECW. Like, Chris Jericho has been good since day one.
Oh yeah.
Chris Jericho debuted in professional wrestling against Lance Storm, who arguably is one of the best technical wrestlers of all time.
Yes.
He's right up there with Malenko.
Yeah.
He's just good.
He's just good.
He's just good. Chris Jericho, storyline-wise, I'm going to say it, he beat Austin and The Rock in the same night to merge the WCW, was it still WCW? It was the WCW World Heavyweight Championship and the WWF Championship into the same title. Storyline-wise, that was a moment that changed the course of their storylines forever.
It's true.
You know, because there was the Alliance and the Invasion, and that was the thing that happened, and we're moving on from it. Because everyone who was ever in WCW was in the Alliance, except for Chris Jericho, who was completely removed from that situation.
See, I don't consider Jericho or Big Show for that matter, a WCW wrestler who like Booker T, Dean Malenko, Chris Benoit,
Sting, Ric Flair.
Flair. They were WCW guys who just came over, just happened to come over. Big Show, Jericho, I don't consider those guys WCW guys. Even though they were in WCW.
Because they got big in WWF.
Yes.
So, and that's a thing that, once again, it comes down to utilization in WCW. Flip it. Chris Jericho's in WWF. Shawn Michaels is in WCW. WCW would not have used Shawn Michaels because he was a small guy.
Not as small.
Not as small, but he was a high flyer. He would have been a cruiserweight. Doesn't matter how much he weighs, doesn't matter how tall he is. He would have been a cruiserweight because he's a high flyer.
That's true, but would Vince have used Chris Jericho the way he did if Shawn Michaels hadn't already?
Chris Jericho's career, if he was in the WWF from the get-go, he left ECW in 94, 95, whatever. He goes to WWF instead of WCW. Chris Jericho, I think, would have followed Triple H's path. He would have had a rough year getting in the door, and then he would have proved himself, and he would have worked his ass off, and he would be Mr. Stephanie McMahon. Absolutely. I'm just assuming if Chris Jericho was there, he would have banged Stephanie.
Well, yeah.
Savage did. Tom Collins.
What?
Yeah, we've been bitching at each other for
I've been
15
enjoying
minutes. Best wrestler of all time.
Oh, I don't know. It's probably Shawn Michaels or Chris
Fuck
Jericho.
off!
Or Chris Jericho.
No, none of this or shit.
And?
No! I love Shawn Michaels. Don't get me wrong. I love Shawn Michaels.
What if they had a tag team? Fuck. Video games are cool because you can make that shit happen.
HBY2J, HB2J,
HJ?
HJ, just hand jobs for everyone.
HJ, for life.
That's a sad life.
Sad hand job.
I like Shawn Michaels. I've never disliked Shawn Michaels, but
I have. Fucking definitely have.
So I've never disliked Chris Jericho. Name me one bad moment in Chris Jericho's... We'll just use WWF. We won't even use WCW. WWF, name one bad moment in Chris Jericho's career.
Oh, you can't. There's not a moment where you're like, wow, they fucked up, they fucked that up with him, or, they fucked that up for him. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying I think, because Shawn Michaels had the career he had, I don't think Jericho would have had the same career if there was no Michaels.
So you're saying that Shawn Michaels paved the way for Chris Jericho?
Yeah.
I say that's bullshit.
I don't. I don't know. It's Brett and Shawn Michaels, which I think Brett was one of the best wrestlers of all time.
I heard he's the best there is, the best there was, and the best there ever will. No, sorry. That's Natalia now.
That's Natalia. That's right.
Good. But moving on from them.
I do enjoy watching her wrestle, too. Sharpshooter is probably my favorite move of all time. No, the stunner. It's fucking everybody's. Yeah, I think the fact that the WWF had two smaller guys who were over the top talented, who could still put on good matches with the big muscle dummies. I think because of that, and then Vince started to see smaller guys. I mean, you might be right. Take Shawn Michaels and Brett out of the equation, and Y2J debuts against The Rock. The beginning of his career would suck. It wouldn't have been as good because say he was the first smaller guy like that to come out and start doing that. His career wouldn't have been as good. He might be where he is now today, but it wouldn't be 100% great.
I think Chris Jericho was destined to great. And you know what? It's not even his talent. It's not his charisma. It's his work ethic. The dude busts his ass. Oh, yeah. And he did. Even when he was getting shit on in WCW, he still worked. And he worked well because regardless of if he wasn't where he wanted to be, he was like, well, you know what? I'm getting paid to do a job. I'm going to go out there. I'm going to do it the best I can. And Shawn Michaels, other than DX Shawn Michaels, I never felt like he oozed charisma.
Are you shitting me?
I don't know. I was never like a...
Oh, man. Like, dude, when that fucking music hits...
No, I'm not saying he's not making the ladies wet in the pants.
Fucking,
you know, that was his gimmick. Sexy boy.
Like sexy boy.
Like, but it was just like when Shawn Michaels gets on the mic, whether it's 15 years ago or today, it's... I don't know. It's okay.
Jericho's definitely better on the mic.
100%.
I don't think you can argue with it. Jericho
might be the best talker they've ever had. Paul Heyman aside.
The Rock.
See, but The Rock was very...
Austin.
I will make a concession for
Punk.
Austin.
Punk was good.
The Rock, I do not buy into. Now, granted, during the big time of The Rock, when he was like the most electrifying man in sports entertainment, blah, blah,
Today.
blah. Yeah.
Then, now, forever.
All his shit.
Then, now, and forever.
I was never a Rock fan. I understand why people were Rock fans. He was very marketable. He's got $1 million smile.
He does.
Great smile.
Handsome
but then
fuck.
But then like and I give him credit. I'm not saying The Rock's not good, because The Rock's good. The Rock's even great.
Oh yeah.
He's the great one.
He is
it's in his gimmick. I never understood what the appeal of The Rock is. Especially when it came out that the reason he wore his sunglasses was because he had cue cards with all of those legendary promos on them. And I was just like, yeah, see, you're good. And you may have even came up with that crap yourself.
Wait, they were on the inside of the sunglasses?
No,
oh, okay.
He wore the sunglasses
like,
so he could fucking read.
Oh, okay. All right.
It's
I'm
the
an
same
idiot.
thing when they went HD, he comes back and you can see his fucking promo written on his arm. It's just, I don't know. I like Shawn Michaels. In ring, fantastic. On the mic, he's okay. He also... Shawn Michaels, it's funny because he trained Daniel Bryan, and their careers were very similar in the sense that they both had a high-risk style and they both paid for it.
Shawn Michaels did not... Daniel Bryan went to Shawn Michaels' school. Shawn Michaels was rarely there and is notorious for being a shitty teacher.
Regardless, he went to his school. He worked with him.
Yes.
And they both had to end their careers early because of neck and back injuries.
Yep.
Jericho has a very similar style to both of them. There's a lot of high risk to Jericho's moveset. Not as much these days because he's 46.
Yeah,
But Jericho will still be in the ring and performing when he's 50. I guarantee it.
That's only a couple years away.
Jericho's not going anywhere.
I hope not.
Because he's also smart enough. He doesn't pull this part-time bullshit where he comes back and then wrestles only at pay-per-views. When he comes back, he wrestles full-time.
Right, and that is one thing.
But he takes the smart thing and he takes a break. He goes and tours with Fozzy, who just played in Worcester. It was an awesome fucking show. And he takes a break. He lets his body heal. And then he comes back and he comes up with a new gimmick, adds it on to his old gimmick, and it's amazing.
Yeah.
Every fucking time.
Right, and I'm not saying that you are wrong.
I'm checking the WWE 2K18 stats, and I'm going to see who's rated higher, Shawn Michaels or Chris Jericho, and that's final. No, it's not, because it's probably Shawn Michaels.
Yeah.
Jericho he's the total package, and not Lex Luger, who killed Elizabeth.
He had a bionic arm.
That's true. That might have happened.
That might have actually happened. Chris Jericho had everything. He's had a storied career. The only reason Chris Jericho is not in the Hall of Fame is because he's going to refuse to retire as long as possible. I think, my personal opinion, Chris Jericho should be the first active wrestler to be inducted into the Hall of Fame.
I don't know. I think you should be able, 25 years, you're eligible. I think they should do something like that. If you've been in the business for 25 years.
And he has been.
Right. That's what I'm saying. I wouldn't be mad if fucking tomorrow you read, their Y2J is going in the Hall of Fame. It'd be like, yeah,
well, it's
no
just
shit.
we all know the Undertaker's not done until they announce him for the Hall of Fame. That's when we know Taker is done, is when they announce him in the Hall of Fame. That's why he's not done. I know that because they would have made a big fuss about it.
Who's your favorite wrestler of all time?
Chris Jericho.
Okay.
Well,
we're saying best. It doesn't have to be your favorite. Shawn Michaels is my favorite wrestler of all time.
He's not your favorite wrestler?
Who's your favorite?
No. Taker or Austin.
Yeah. See, Austin. Austin followed kind of Jericho's career as well. Now, obviously, I don't necessarily say Austin would not have been as big if they didn't come up with the whole blue collar.
Yeah.
Like him, because he was put in a storyline with the boss, the real boss.
Yeah.
And that's the dream of every white trash asshole who watches WWF programming in '98.
Present.
Hello.
It was like, he just beat up his boss. Like, if it weren't for Austin McMahon, Austin would have been a very good performer. And that's it.
If it wasn't for Triple H hugging Shawn Michaels and Diesel and Razor Ramon, there would be no Steve Austin.
There wouldn't.
But you're talking white trash asshole. Yeah. So I'm a big Steve Austin fan. White trash asshole.
Asshole.
But I know that I know that he's not the best wrestler of all time, but he might be my favorite because of that. Because of that, being 10, 11, 12 years old and seeing this guy give his boss the finger, drink beer, being 10, 11, 12.
I don't think he actually drank any beer. I think he just poured it on himself.
Yeah.
Same thing.
Take out the Austin McMahon, and they had Jericho and Austin a very similar career. They started out
being underutilized by WCW.
Yeah, Jericho came from ECW to WCW. Austin went from WCW to ECW.
Yes.
They were both.
Thank you, Paul Heyman.
Butchered
for both
by WCW. But granted, Austin's debut in the WWF was nothing to write home about. It was terrible.
The
Ringmaster,
yeah.
The Hollywood Blondes.
He still had hair.
Yeah.
When he was a ringmaster, right?
His finisher was the stun gun. It was just like, I'm going to just kind of drop you on the top rope.
He was the $1 Million champion.
Yeah.
Yes, he was.
You watch that and you don't think you're ever going to see the Texas Rattlesnake out of that.
Oh God, yeah.
But you look at Jericho, early WCW. There's not a lot of difference between Jericho when he was 22, 23 years old and Jericho at 46.
He had a cool ponytail.
It was a top knot for one thing.
Yeah, it was a top knot with long hair.
So like I said, I saw Fozzy the other night, and the thing that struck me the most about Jericho is he's a little kid. He's super excited about what he's doing. He was jumping around. He wasn't dancing around like David Lee Roth. He was dancing around like,
good, because that's
I'm a fucking rock star. Like 12 years or so into Fozzy existing, and he's got this shit-eating grin on his face, and he's jumping around, he's having a good time. He just seems like a dude who, no matter what he's doing, his number one goal is to have fun.
He has the two best jobs in the world, though.
Pro wrestler and rock star.
Yeah. Like,
that's the
you
dream.
throw in porn star and good to go. It seems like a fun job. I don't know.
Seems like a fun job.
Yeah.
Having sex is cool. I don't know.
Chris Jericho is probably good at that too. I don't know.
I don't either.
Never been there for it, you know?
I don't have to be. That's
I just
cool.
think Chris
take your
Jericho
word for it.
Chris Jericho is timeless. Steve Austin is also timeless. Steve Austin, while being one of the greatest of all times, is another guy who had his career cut short.
Yes. Yeah. He was a his career was definitely cut short, and which is unfortunate, but I also think he got sick of wrestling. I feel like he just kind of was over it at the end.
So, like, I mean, you know, let's go back to Shawn Michaels. Obviously,
Another guy who kind of got over it for a little while.
he lost his smile.
Lost his smile. That's true. In Lowell.
Poor Shawn Michaels. Shawn Michaels
Does have an award-winning smile, though.
He tagged team with God.
It's true. But see,
Did fucking Jericho do that nonsense?
no, but that's shit that makes me go, Jericho's better. Jericho didn't have to tag team with God.
Yeah, he's not on that level.
You know,
Tag team with Satan.
Jericho. And whatever his tag team, who was it, like the Miz or something? No, that was Miz and Big Show. We had Jericho. I'm trying to think of other people he's tagged with, because Jericho's held the tag titles a bunch too.
He's held every title.
He's held every single title that WWE has to offer. Hold on.
I liked his work with Kevin Owens this
Again,
past year. That was awesome.
Okay, so he's 40. At the time, he's probably 45, 46 years old. He's coming back for his umpteenth run in WWE, and they pair him up with a fairly newcomer to WWE, but a veteran in the industry.
And a dickhead, which is what I love about Kevin Owens. Like, when he talks shit to people, fantastic. Ring of Honor, Kevin Steen versus New Japan's Shinsuke Nakamura.
So good.
They wrestle each other, and Shinsuke is doing his little, like, fucking tweak out thing, and Kevin Steen says, "Whoa, man, chill out. You're having a seizure." Fan-fucking-tastic. Look that shit up on YouTube. It's definitely worth watching.
So I just want to bring this up. Chris Jericho held the WWF, WWE, World, or Tag Team, whatever championships 5 times. With
5 times. Sorry.
Chris Benoit. We won't get into Chris Benoit. Christian, Edge, The Big Show, and The Rock. He is the 4th Grand Slam champion.
That's not bad company to hold.
Right? He's the 9th Triple Crown champion. You know, the first undisputed WWF champion. You know, he's absolutely 100% just all over the place. So, 9-time Intercontinental champion.
That's pretty good.
Like,
I don't know if I've said it, which I know I have. My favorite championship. I think that's the best one.
And you have said that.
I have.
And Chris Jericho made it even more prestigious than it was by being fucking Chris Jericho and being amazing.
WrestleMania 17, he fights William Regal for it, and fantastic match. That was the opening to that WrestleMania, which was like the best WrestleMania. One of them.
X7.
Shawn
X7.
Michaels only held the IC title 3 times.
What up now, Sean?
But he had that ladder match with Razor Ramon at 10. I think that was WrestleMania 10.
Yeah. That was
Yeah.
that's a good match.
Also held the tag titles 5 times, twice with Kevin Nash, once with Stone Cold, once with Triple H, and once with John Cena. I would take...
Wabadoo.
Never mind. I'm not going to say horrible things right now, but he held it with John Cena. You can't see him. I don't know where I go with that.
I wish he won it with fucking God. Oh, what if they won the tag team?
That would have been so good.
Take that shit on the road,
No,
yo.
because Vince would have run with
God
that and be
everywhere.
like, God was a former WWF Tag Team Champion. Oh,
Fucking God in the WWE Hall of Fame.
It's just
The
like
Church of WWE.
I will not deny that Shawn Michaels is one of the best performers of all time. I think Chris Jericho has surpassed him though. Because Chris Jericho's career is not over and he's already done everything Shawn Michaels has done plus more.
He has a valid point.
He has 6 more IC title wins.
I'm trying to come up with an argument. I can't.
You just
But like
you just
I
said,
said,
I can't, but I don't agree with you.
Let's call the end of Chris Jericho's career in the next 5 to 10 years. So he's reaching the end of his full-time career.
yeah.
I
would say his full-time career is over.
See, but
Because he has the band, because he's
he
old as
takes
shit.
time off, but
Right.
he wrestles every single fucking night when he's back.
Right. Which,
He's not The Rock. He's not a little prima donna bitch who goes off and does movies all the time.
right.
I'm sorry,
What a bitch.
It's just, he's not Cena. Cena's part-time. Cena's part-time and he's been around forever. And the only reason he's part-time is because, I hate to say it, work shoot or whatever you want to say their shit with Roman Reigns was. He's too busy doing the Today Show.
Now, I feel like John Cena and The Rock are the same person. They come back to try to put somebody over who doesn't really,
Need to be over.
fucking...
You mean like fucking Roman Reigns?
Roman
Nobody
Reigns.
cares.
It's like, dude, fucking stop. Just
See,
punching and tackling.
Vince wants us to have this conversation again, but we don't mention Shawn Michaels. We don't mention Chris Jericho. We mention Roman Reigns for some reason because he thinks he can make Roman Reigns into the greatest superstar of all time.
Yeah, he tried that with Lex Luger in a fucking dumb bus and fucking...
That was so
Ooh,
bad.
you didn't win the championship. No, fucking the non-Japanese Samoan Japanese guy won. Fucking
Yokozuna?
nonsense. God damn it.
Yeah. Yet they still
like I said,
hoist
we're
him on shoulders.
Okay,
men in their underwear pretend fighting.
yes, and at the end of the day, the best man in his underwear who pretend fights is Chris Jericho.
Sparkly underwear.
Fucking sparkle crotch. See,
Fucking
done.
sparkle crotch.
We have not seen the last of Chris Jericho. I think he has surpassed Shawn Michaels. I think that when we do see the end of Chris Jericho, his last match, which will probably be at WrestleMania, will be on the same level as Shawn Michaels' last match against Undertaker.
Fuck. I'm probably going to cry for that.
For Jericho's retirement?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I teared up this year at Undertaker.
He's not done. He can't. No, it's not over with Roman. Fuck that. Fuck. It's over with Jericho. Jericho Taker. Send him out. Because Jericho and Taker.
Strowman Taker, and Strowman just fucking
Just crushes him.
destroys him. And fucking kid in the crowd's like, stop, he's already dead. And fucking lights go out.
breaks him in half.
Fuck. Oh, god damn it. They could have done that so much better. And they wanted to, and Undertaker said no because Braun Strowman wasn't ready. Now he's ready. Just fucking let him.
So Chris Jericho. We
How
can
do you
all
really
agree.
feel about this?
God damn it.
Chris Jericho.
Like,
Jeff Jarrett.
do you remember a time in your life where the Undertaker didn't wrestle? Like not really, right? Like,
No.
we were fucking little when he debuted. And so my whole life as a wrestling fan, he's been there. I stopped watching wrestling for a long time. Then I got back into it. He's still fucking there. Like, almost everyone else is gone. And then to have that. Fuck. And leaves all his shit in the ring.
Him losing against Lesnar was as much as that was a moment. That was a moment that we will never forget.
I fucking hate Brock Lesnar, but I believe it.
Yeah.
He's a legitimate badass.
Him losing to Reigns felt like just some fucking young punk-ass Samoan dude showed up and beat up an old man. That's what I saw.
So fucking old.
It was horrible. It was terrible, that match. And to make that the main event, so that's the last thing we see at WrestleMania?
And it wasn't a good... You couldn't have something follow that, but it sucks because Taker's so fucking old, so fucking beat up, that... He can't.
He needs someone who can work with him.
He needs someone who can make him look better.
He needs Kevin Owens. He needs AJ Styles. He needs CM Punk. He needs Chris Jericho. He needs someone who can work with him. He needs fucking Chris Jericho. Chris Jericho, Undertaker would be great.
That would be great, not for Taker's last match.
You know, fuck it. Retirement match plus return match. Last match for both of them. I want Shawn Michaels versus Y2J. We settle this at WrestleMania. Let's call Vince. Let's just settle this.
Do you
call
want his
Vince.
number?
Book it.
Yeah, just call him now.
Yeah, 411.
Fucking book it.
On it.